Okay, this is section 8-2, solving equations with grouping symbols. Let's start with example 1. Example 1 says 2t, notice my t is cursive, equals 10 times the quantity t minus 1. Draw your line. The only difference between this section and the section we just did was when there's parentheses, we basically need to get rid of the parentheses, and how we do that is by distributing. So this becomes 10t minus 10. 10 times t, then 10 times negative 1. So now that we've distributed, this is just like section 1. We need to combine our like terms. Well, here I've got variable, constant. I need to take this variable to that side. And how I'm going to do that is we don't do the opposite of this sign, first of all. We do the opposite of this sign. That's a positive 10t. So to get rid of that, I need to subtract 10t. So those cancel out. Negative 10 drops down, negative also, equals, and 2 tigers minus 10 tigers is negative 8 tigers. And last step, to get t by itself, divide by negative 8. So in this case, we end up with, since it's a negative divided by a negative, that's really positive over positive. So it's 5 over 4, or 1 1/4. Then if you do that math, you know that that's 1.5. So any of those answers work for example 1 for t. Let's go to example, that was actually 1a. Let's go to 2b, or 1b says 5 times the quantity a minus 4 equals 3 times the quantity a plus 1.5. Alright, let's go ahead and distribute again. I'm going to do both of these on one step. 5 times a, 5 times negative 4. 3 times a plus 3 times 1.5, which would be 4.5. Erase that. 4.5. Alright, so now that we've distributed, it looks like the problems from yesterday. I'm going to subtract 3a. You could start that any one of 4 ways. I just chose to do that because I knew it would give me a positive to a variable. Then, because I took the variables to the left, I got to take the constants to the right. And yes, I did do that all in one step. So what that gives me is those cancel out, and over here I got 24.5. Last step, to get a all by itself, divide by 2. Luckily for me, I know what that is. That is 12.25. If you have $24.50, if you divided that in 2, you'd have $12.25. So that is A. A is 12.25. And again, you can always check your solution by plugging it in there and there and seeing if both sides are equal. Let's go to example number 2. Example 2 says the perimeter of a rectangle is 46 inches. Find the dimensions if the length is 5 inches greater than twice the width. So it tells you that. Now listen to it. The length is, so length equals 5 inches greater than twice the width. So that's 5 more than 2 times the width. So if L is 2W plus 5, then what's W? Well, W is just W. So if we think about this, on a rectangle, the lengths, which I'll just mark these as lengths, these will be 2W plus 5, and these would just be W. So, and we know that if we add all those together, we get 46. So that's going to become my equation. And you can use this with distribution if you want, but really you have W plus 2W plus 5 plus W plus 2W plus 5 equals 46. And then combine like terms. I get 6w. I'll use squiggly lines for plus 5 plus 5. So there I got 6w plus 10. If you look in the book, it'll show it different because it'll distribute 2 times each of these lengths and 2 times each of those widths. But now, since we have constants on both sides, I'm going to take that constant over. I get 36 equals 6w, and then divide by 6. So, final answer here is w equals 6. I guess this would be inches. The question, going back to the question, it says, find the dimensions. Well, if the width is 6, what's the length? Well, plug it in. 2 times 6 plus 5, because that's from up here. That's what the length equals. So 2 times 6 plus 5 is 17. So my dimensions are 17 inches and 6 inches. If you think about that, 6 plus 17 plus 6 plus 17 is 46. So it did equal exactly what we wanted it to equal. And that is example number 2. Let's go to example 3. Example 3 says 3x plus 1/3 equals 3x minus 1/2. Draw your line. Now this is a problem where basically if you look in the book it says that this is an example that says no solution. So it doesn't have an answer. There's no value for x that we can plug in there that would give us both sides of the equation equal. So, and it'll show you in the book how you do that, but basically we solve this the same way. We can start with the variables. I'm going to take my variables to one side or the other, but if you notice, what happens is 3x minus 3x is 0x on both sides. So then this would drop a 1/3 and a minus 1/2. So in reality, the 0x's are just 0, so this is just 1/3 equals negative 1/2. And I know this probably looks weird, but anytime you get an equation, when you solve it, and the variables are gone, that means no solution. And another way to write that is that way, no solution. So 1/3 obviously does not equal negative 1/2. So it's no solution. And I'm going to show you one. The next one, example 4, has all solutions. So when you get to the bottom, one side does equal the other side. Let's look at that one. Here's example number 4. It says 2 parentheses 2x minus 1 plus 6 plus 6 equals 4x plus 4. So first things first, we need to distribute. 2 times 2x is 4x, and then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And I write everything else straight down. And then on this side, what you notice is we actually have like terms to put together. So the 4x drops down, but what's negative 2 plus 6? I hope you're not thinking negative 8. If you're at minus 2 and then you go up 6, you are at positive 4. So hope that was something that you noticed. And now, if you can see this, right now we have 4x plus 4 equals 4x plus 4. Both of those are equal. They're exactly the same thing. So what you might notice is, no matter what we plug in for x, you're going to multiply it by 4, then add 4 on both sides. So what that means is, no matter what we throw in there for x, we get both sides equal, which means every single number we plug in will work. So what that's called is all solutions. I mean, literally, every number you plug in will give you correct, in a correct equation. But if you continue, subtract 4, that gives you 0 on each side, so then you're left with 4x equals 4x, and then divide by 4 on both sides, You're left with x equals x. You know, you could do a lot of things here. No matter what you do, you have equal sides on both. You know, you could even subtract x on both sides if you wanted, and it would give you 0 equals 0, which is still, it doesn't matter what you do. You could actually just stop right there since they're the exact same equation, and it becomes all solutions. All right, so that's all you got. That's example 4. Good luck.